What's up everyone, John Ranger from Techno Buffalo here with a full review for you of the latest from Motorola. This is the Moto X. It brings a lot of customization options to the table. Let's go ahead and put it through its paces and see if it's worth your phone buying dollar. As I do with all my phone reviews, I want to begin this with a disclaimer. I use this device as my daily driver for 5.5 days, so it gave me plenty of time to get to know it and learn it, and then for another 2.5 days using it in conjunction with another phone. So I really feel like I got a chance to know what it can do and what it can't do. So before I get into all the specs and everything the phone's got under the hood, let's talk first about call quality. This is coming to all 4 major US carriers. I did test it in Southern California on AT&T and call quality was outstanding. It seems to be the case with almost all phones now. I experienced one drop call during my time with the device, but that could have been the area I was at. Everything worked very well. Call quality was pretty loud, as was speakerphone. Let's start with the mission here about the Moto X. It's not your typical flagship phone. You're not looking at a Snapdragon 800 or Exynos octa-core chip or anything. You're looking at a pretty standard dual core phone. Look at it just from the outside on the specs, you might be very underwhelmed. Motorola has made this not about the specs at all, about the experience. And you can say it's a lot of sort of the Apple approach. It's not about what the phone's got under the hood, it's how well it works for you. So the big ways of doing that first is with customization. You can choose really a ton of choices for how you want your phone to look. You can pick from 18 back colors, you can pick from 7 color options for the buttons on the side and the accent ring around the camera. And all customizations are done via the pretty intuitive and surprisingly awesome Moto Maker, which even lets you log into your Google account and set your wallpaper. So essentially, your phone is all set up and ready to go as soon as you turn it on, which is kind of a neat approach. The phone works very, very well, and I'll talk about that when I get to the hardware, but the experience was pretty incredible and really exceeded my expectations. So let's jump into the hardware. First, the phone feels premium. It doesn't have sort of the flashy metal back like the HTC One, but it's got the heft of the Nexus 4 and it feels really, really top quality. I give Motorola a lot of credit. It's sort of a soft touch back. It's got some plasticky parts, but you really feel like you're using a top tier device. The 4.7 inch 1280 by 720 AMOLED screen is surprisingly good. AMOLED can sometimes distort colors, but things look pretty decent and high defy. But one of the coolest things about having an AMOLED screen is Moto's active notification. Essentially what that is, if you pick your phone up when it's facing down, you pick it up, you can see notifications right on your home screen. You can see what the time it is, you can unlock your device, and you can jump right to a particular notification. If you've got a text message or an email. I wish you could have scrolled through notifications, but only shows the last one that came up. But it's a really cool start. I'd love to see that function perhaps even be built into some Android devices. I really think Motorola nailed this one here. So the Moto X takes advantage of on-screen buttons, and they still annoy me like they do on pretty much every device that has them. Not for functionality, they work very well, but for taking up precious real estate. Why can't there be capacitive buttons? I can have an extra row of icons on my home screen. I find that really annoying, and every device that has it just seems to get me more and more upset. So on the next one, Moto, maybe capacitive buttons, please? Let's jump into software next. So I found it really interesting that Motorola didn't get special treatment from Google. The X ships with Android 4.2.2, not even the latest version of Jelly Bean 4.3. So I like what Motorola's done here. They focused a lot on the experience and not throwing everything they could at it. It's mostly stock Android with really good tweaks. One of the coolest things is Google Voice. It's always listening. You have to train it with your voice using your OK Google Now, and it works very well and only with your voice. I'll give you a demonstration here. So the phone's off. Okay, Google now. What's the weather in Irvine, California?
It's 76 degrees and partly cloudy in Irvine.
And there it goes. And if somebody else comes up and tries to mess with your phone,
okay, Google now, change my language to Chinese.
It's not going to work. And I just launched it right there. It really is tuned right to your voice. So I give them a lot of credit. It worked and recognized in very crowded meeting spaces. Motorola did a really awesome job. I would love for that feature to make its way into just regular Android, so every device can take advantage of its pretty awesomeness. It's also got a really cool feature too. It's an app that you might not even notice and might just think it's bloatware, but it's called Moto Assist, and it is beyond awesome, especially when you are in the car. Texting and driving is one of the worst things you can do. It kills tons of people, injures lots more. You just shouldn't be doing it. When you're in your car though, if you turn this on, essentially what you get is it'll read your text messages out loud, it'll continue playing music, and it makes life a lot easier. It's got other functionalities as well. If you're in a meeting, it'll mute it. If you want to go to bed, it'll turn everything off for you. Just are really cool features that Motorola has done a very awesome job on. We first kind of saw that with previous Motorola devices, and they really fine-tuned it with the Moto X. So other cool software features, obviously you can launch the camera with the camera button, but that's so last year. What if you want to launch a camera but another way? You can do that by twisting your wrist like you're turning a screwdriver. So there's a simple that, We'll give you some haptic vibration, and the camera will launch up. The UI is pretty super simple. That's the way Moto wants it. So talking about the camera, let's jump right into that. It's got a 10 megapixel clear pixel sensor on the back. Motorola is saying they've added a fourth clear pixel to let in 75% more light than other phones. Pictures look pretty good, but in low light they have a ton of artifacting. If you want to know more about the pictures, what it looks like, check out the full review on technobuffalo.com. We've got a ton of images up there that might help you decide whether or not you want to pick this up based on camera performance alone. And talking about performance, they're actually pretty good. Some of you guys want to know what their quadrant score was. It's not going to blow anyone away. But it was a score of 8,981. But don't let that fool you. This thing performed as well as any quad-core device. It loaded up apps super quick, loaded up games really fast. It scrolled through web pages without a hold up. I never had to worry or do any sort of management with processor or any sort of RAM. It's got 2 gigs in there. Everything here was really, really fast. If I picked up this phone and someone told me it had a quad-core chip, I wouldn't have even bat an eyelash. It worked very, very, very well. So a lot has been made about the price. It's coming in about $200, and I know it's a tough one to justify, but here's where the price comes from. This phone is assembled in the United States. There's been a huge call for more phones built and or assembled in the US. When you build something in the US, you gotta pay unions and labor's more expensive. So the phone's gonna cost a little bit more. If you want a phone that's gonna cost less, you want one that's assembled elsewhere. But at least now you've got the option to have a phone completely assembled in the United States, and you certainly pay a premium for that. The phone feels really nice. I think I'd happily sign my name to a 1-year contract on this phone. 2 years though, might be a bit tough to justify. Well, the specs are pretty good now. It'll be good in 10, 11, 12 months. I don't know if games and apps in another year are gonna require a quad-core device. Those are becoming more and more standard. At least for next year, I'd feel really comfortable recommending this phone. So last but definitely not least, let's talk about battery. It's got a 2200 milliamp hour battery. One of the nice things of having a lower clock speed processor and less cores is battery. And battery life was absolutely outstanding. My daily usage, taking out the phone around 7:30, about an hour, 2 hours of phone calls, constantly checking 2 email inboxes every 5 minutes, some light web browsing, some decent social media doing, and some YouTube watching. I usually go to bed on most phones around 25-30%. I had over 45% battery life on the Moto X. This thing is an absolute beast of a phone. Non-removable battery though, so you want to make sure that it's going to work for you, but I also didn't feel any heat coming from the battery, the processor as well, which is really nice. So this thing just knocked battery right out of the park. So what's the final score on the Moto X? If you can guess, it's a pretty good one. Final score of 8.5. I would have preferred a higher definition screen, but I can understand why it's not in here. I would have liked to have not had those capacitor buttons, which really, really just annoyed me. But there's nothing wrong with this phone at all. I can't say don't get this phone because of X. Really, I can say get this phone because of a myriad of reasons. It works well. If you like to customize your phone, it's gonna be a great device for you. You know who you are. If you're the kind of person that needs the latest and greatest specs, then this is clearly not the phone for you to pick. But if you're the kind of person that just wants end user experience to work well, work cleanly, and work smoothly, you just want your phone to work right out of the box, this is gonna be a great choice for you. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Moto X. Leave them in the comments right down below. Please give this video a thumbs up. We most definitely appreciate it. I am John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo. I'll see you in the next video. What's up everyone, John here. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, I certainly hope you did. Click on the subscribe button right under me in my pants region to get tons more tech videos from Techno Buffalo. We've got awesome unboxings, comparisons, reviews, recaps, and everything else you can think of in the tech world right here on the channel. Join the herd today. If you want to check out some more content, just click right over this way to see some other recent videos. See you guys next time.